Welcome back to Contemporary Black Voices, where we examine issues surrounding and within the Black community. Before we continue our discussion about the college protests and freedom of speech, to the left and right of me is this book called The Black Book, which is a directory and yearbook for 2020, 2023. And in the book are pictures of are stories that we have written for Black Life Texas, pictures of events. Also in the book are pictures of different businesses under different categories, such as religion, law, etc., and Black people who represent those businesses. Now, this Monday, December 18th at 7 p.m. at the EVO Conference Center in Cibolo, we will be having a premiere event there. Now, those of you in San Antonio and surrounding areas, to include Austin, we encourage you to go to the Black Book premiere and order your tickets through Eventbrite, as well as bring your business cards up because this is a networking event. Finally, the book is produced by VistaProducts.com, Vista Products. And so we're very, very proud of this book. It's a beautiful book. And I know that the first time I've been to one of his events was several years ago. And it is an excellent networking event and an excellent event to celebrate Black excellence. So going back to our conversation, Chris and Caleb, on college protests and freedom of speech. Are we seeing a heightened movement to reduce our freedom of speech in this country, Caleb?
So to answer that question, it depends. So if you're a Republican and you're on the right, free speech by Trump is okay. Free speech by college students who are protesting the continued violence in Gaza is not okay. So I guess it depends on who you ask about it.
But, and you were talking about something that kind of was an undercurrent of all of this in terms of what we were seeing happening in schools.
Right. So yeah. So we were talking a little bit about off camera about the assault on teaching Black history in school. Right. So we've seen this continued assault, and so I'm looking at this from a different perspective. And so I see this brilliant sister, right, Claudine Gay, who is at the head of probably the world's premier higher educational institution. And so to these folks, she can't be there, because of who she is, because of what she represents. She can't be the face of this institution. I think that the other two that they went after is collateral damage because they can't go after the sister without a loan. And so I think they just got caught up. But no, I think they're going after this sister who is brilliant. They're questioning her qualifications. She's a woman who graduated from Stanford, who had a PhD from Harvard, who has several fellowships, who've risen through the ranks of academia with different positions. But for the last, I think, 18 or so years, one of her primary interests and one of the subjects that she's taught the most is she's been a member of the African American Studies Department at Harvard, okay? And so that was kind of what facilitated her rise through academia. So here, when you have an assault on Black history, right? You can't have a president at Harvard who has risen through academia teaching African and African American studies. You see what I'm saying? You have to delegitimize her and delegitimize her career and what she's taught if you want to delegitimize African studies and Black history.
And we have to also look at is that the Supreme Court didn't help matters when they got rid of affirmative action. And we're seeing this continual push of eliminating diversity programs off of these campuses. So when you talk about removing diversity DEI programming off of like Harvard, and you got a black president.
Right.
For those people who have issues either way, it's
Right.
very, very disturbing.
Right. So they have to get rid of her because of what she represents. And the other thing is, this is the hypocrisy. Okay. So the same folks, right, who called the neo-Nazi Tiki Torch marchers in Charlottesville good folks are now champions of anti-Semitism all of a sudden, right? So the same folks, remember, this is the party of Donald Trump, the party of David Duke, the party of Steve Bannon, the party of Stephen Miller, but all of a sudden these people are pro-Jewish. You know what I'm saying? No, they want this black woman out of that position. And so, Chris, your thoughts?
No, I agree with you 100%. I mean, you're doing great. I think everything you said is correct. It really kind of pisses me off that they try to make these situations however they can be best served for themselves. And to me, that's not right. America has been built off of its diversity. And I think we talked about this, you and I, Caleb, last week. When you have all of these people who are coming to America, give me your tired, give me your poor. And these people have come to America to find a better and new life for themselves. We are getting to the point of being a country pretty much like the same from where they have come. Okay? And to me, that is disturbing. So much for me that, unfortunately, because of my age, I'm beginning to look at moving out of the country. You know, I want to go to someplace like a Costa Rica or someplace. I'd love to go to Africa, but it's too far from my grandkids. But my point is that all of the things that America has stood for, to be able to have a house, it's very difficult to do that anymore. All the types of things are now coming of issue. So when you talk about the Jewish population, I was very offended by a lady who was on TV, and she said, well, we've been there for everybody else, talking about Jewish people. We've been there for everybody else. We've been there for black folks. We've been there for gays. We've been there for whatever. So they want everybody, every other group, to come and support them and forget about the human rights issue that they're killing these people in the Gaza Strip. That they don't have an army, they can't fight back, they don't have no Air Force, they don't have no tanks, they don't have any of that. And then the one last point I want to make is that when you look at, I was looking at CBS News, and they were talking about these tunnels that were made. Haven't we talked about before that the guy came from Israel who used to be a prime minister and said, we built those tunnels? And now they're trying to blame those tunnels on Hamas.
Right.
It's a problem.
Yeah. You know, so I wrote an article. I hope it makes its way into Black Life Texas, addressing the very issue that you just mentioned. So you have the Jewish community who's saying that they've been a friend to black folks. But I don't recall any Jewish donors pulling money back, or any kind of Jewish lobbying in Congress when Breonna Taylor was killed, or when Malcolm Brown was killed, or when George Floyd was killed, or when Tamir Rice was killed. I don't recall seeing this large Jewish protest or money being pulled, or any kind of media coverage from any of the Jewish media outlets when police were just killing unarmed black folks left and right? And so this idea that, oh, we supported you, we supported your causes. No, you haven't supported anything. You've been silent, you know what I mean, of late. So where's that?
And the black plight has probably been closest to what their plight was, more so than anything else. So if there's somebody they should have identified with, in my point, it should have been black folks.
Yeah. Well, see, the thing is, though, yeah, we had this kind of alliance in the '60s, and that kind of it went away. You know what I mean? Here's the deal: they're able to assimilate, right? Person could walk in right now, we wouldn't know if he's Jewish unless he told us.
Right.
You know what I mean? If I walk into a room, you gonna know I'm black.
Right.
I ain't got to tell you. You see what I'm saying? So there was an assimilation that they were able to accomplish that we weren't. And so they didn't need this alliance anymore. You know what I'm saying? This black and Jewish alliance. So their whole mentality, it transformed. Once they were able to really take advantage of this system and integrate themselves into the system and really get control of media, banking, and finance, the alliance went to the wayside. All those young Jewish college students, once they became grown white Jewish kids and got the trust funds and got into these positions, you know what I'm saying? That alliance went away. So all this stuff about we were, but we're no longer. And it's not because of us, it's because of you. You realized your whiteness and became comfortable in your whiteness and took advantage and integrated into white society.
It's like the Zionists, okay? and I can't remember the guy who said it, but he said, you left what is called the Middle East now. You left us as black, but you came back as white.
Yeah.
I don't understand what happened.
So yeah, no, that relationship has changed. So this is very disingenuous when I hear the Jewish folks talking about we've supported you. You haven't supported anything.
I want to talk about one other thing before we have to sign off on this. Dr. Gay was accused of plagiarism. So knowing me, I went and downloaded her dissertation. And a lot of people who are saying that she plagiarized, in my opinion, she didn't plagiarize. What she might have did was she made some mistakes that can be fixed right away. But to me, latent plagiarism is cutting and pasting, and it's so apparent throughout the document, and I didn't see that. Now, we have to understand also when she got her dissertation, all the tools that we have now to capture those issues were not available. And if they were very much in their rudimentary stages, right? So I know we're probably going to have some folks who will come and say, well, she plagiarized, she should be fired. No. I have a lot of dissertation mentees, and I have to say, you want to fix this right away because it's not, I know it wasn't intentional, but it can be fixed. And because the board of directors, the faculty, and the students are supporting her, what they're going to do is have her pull her dissertation in a couple of articles and make whatever minor corrections need to be made. And
So there was an article that came out that she's already made those corrections. I seen an article this morning where she's made some, and so those corrections that she needs to make, adding quotation marks, adding a site here or there. So they were very, very minor. It was something that it didn't meet the level of what they call, I guess, the plagiarism, or it didn't meet the level of student misconduct.
Right.
And so it didn't rise to that level. So she's made the necessary corrections. Again, it's people who are going after a black woman who they believe shouldn't be in the space that she's in right now. And that's what that's all about. And so not only does she have the support of the alumni network and the students and the faculty, she should have our support.
I'm there with her.
I am too. So,
and with that, we're going to go ahead and say we're in San Antonio. We're going to say adios and come back to listen to our hot topics.